I'm Jay Adkins.
And I'm Annie.
Oops, I'm not in the screen
Well,
now.
I moved you
I
off the
got pushed
screen. I'm
out.
sorry. I'll move it back over a little bit.
I got pushed out.
And we are going to talk about
The A team.
Yeah, who you need on your team and why.
A
today.
players. A
Building
players.
your A team, right?
So a little bit, just briefly again about us. We teach for REI USA the fourth Wednesday of the month at 4. And we call that the Real Estate Master Plan of Ohio.
But again, anything we teach can be taught, or can be learned and executed at any state or
Yes.
any even territory. Really.
Yes, we have coaching students in our mastermind group that are all over the United States. And so we share our documents with them, and then they just get it checked by their local attorney or attorneys, depending on the specialty of the attorney.
Oh,
and I think
I just totally screwed that up. There we go.
that kind of kicks off the first part that we're going to start with. Well, just so you know, Annie and I are very active. We have done 27 rentals this year. Since January 1, our goal was 24. So we have surpassed our goal.
And we set that goal because we kept hearing from local people as well as our other students from around the country that there were no deals to be found.
There's
right?
no deals.
There's no deals. Nobody can find any deals. So Jay's like, really? Pretty sure I can find some deals. So he said, let's try to find 24 rentals before the end of the year.
Yes.
So that was the big, hairy, audacious goal that Jay set for our team. And we now have 27, and it's not even the end of the year yet. So who knows? By December, we may have 34.
We might, but we have a lot of rehabbing to do the next 3 months.
So now we're kind of scrambling to add to our team because we knocked that goal out of the park. So, which we'll talk about later as well.
But that is all because of us having a team.
Right.
That would not be possible without all of our team members helping us. And you may think, like I thought at first, oh, a team member is someone that you have on your payroll that you have to pay weekly, and that's just not accurate.
There are some team members that you have to pay weekly, but not everybody has to be an active participant on your weekly payroll. So
right. So we're doing about 5 flips right now and rehabbing 17 rental units, and that's because of a team. Okay.
So the first thing that we always try to talk about when we're talking about teams is, what is the highest and best use of your time? So is there something that you personally can do, or only you should be doing for your team or for your business? So ultimately, it just depends on what you're really good at and what you want to do. When Jay first started in real estate, he was doing this as a side gig for our family.
Which many of you may be considering,
or maybe doing too.
Part-time.
I had my own cleaning business, and he was doing real estate. We have 4 children, and they're all teenagers and young adults now, but not when we started this 20 years ago, right? So Jay was doing this extremely part-time initially, because he was dealing with some other things for himself. And then it got to a point where he had hit that ceiling. You know, you can only do so much when you're working by yourself, right? So he was looking at hiring some people to help him, either part-time or full-time. And he hired, I should say, a stay-at-home mom that just wanted a couple of hours a week.
Yeah, and I think at that point we had maybe around 9 or 10 rentals.
Yeah. And, we just found somebody that her kids were younger. Her youngest went to kindergarten 2 days a week, and that's what she wanted to work while she was at kindergarten. And that really just helped kind of organize things and really show Jay where things were lacking versus what he actually thought was going on, or the start of that, I guess. To where he got a little more organized with that help. And then his business took off a little bit more to where he was talking about hiring an office manager. And I'm still doing my own thing over here on the side. And I thought, this is ridiculous. There's no reason to hire somebody else if we could work together, as long as we could work together well, which is key.
Annie was honestly overqualified for the position. She has about 7 degrees, 3 master's degrees, 3 bachelor's degrees, and 3 or 4 associate's degrees. I'm not sure how many really.
So I have a master's degree in business administration, a master's degree in accounting, and a master's degree in education. So I took those and kind of ran with it and said, okay, we need to treat this as a business and no longer as a hobby. So what is the highest and best use of Jay's time versus what he prefers to do, what he absolutely hates to do,
Mhm.
and just kind of put into play from there. Let me check this chat real quick to make sure.
So um, um, my highest and best use of my time also includes the things that I like to do the most. Big surprise there, right? So I love talking to sellers and I love solving problems. And so that is my number one skill. And so when people are interested in selling, I call them because that's my skill. I'm best at that, and I can extract from them what they actually need to happen from the property. Sometimes they don't even know. And Annie's, go ahead, your number one skill is
What do you think my number one skill is?
organization and time management.
Okay. That's what I was going to say about myself, but I always am interested to see what he has to say. Sometimes it changes, and sometimes my stress level predicts that change. So, yeah, I organize because when I started working with Jay, there were piles, right? It was organized chaos. He knew where everything was, but to walk into his office, it gave me massive anxiety because it just looked like there was piles of paperwork and piles of folders, and everything was in total disarray.
Just imagine hoarding with property folders.
There were stacks of crap everywhere. So, then I organized it and got it the way that I wanted it, and he couldn't find anything. So there are levels of pain that you have to deal with, especially when you work with your spouse or significant other. Not everybody can work together, and that was one of the biggest challenges for the two of us. But finding the highest and best use of your time and what you like to do, so you aren't agonizing over going to the office every day or working with your team every day, or I really cannot stand to make phone calls, but I have to call these people, because if you don't like it, chances are it won't be done.
Yeah, and you'll put it off, just like filing and organizing. I didn't want to do it. I would rather be stabbed with a knife in the eyeball. So the files just stayed where they were, and I pretty much knew where 80% of them were. And at that time, that was good enough for me. Now everything is digital and labeled correctly and tracked through software and platforms. And so you just have to figure out what your unique genius zone is. And you may make a list of all of the things that you do in real estate. Maybe you don't know what those things are, but we're going to review a lot of those today.
And maybe as far as your unique genius zone, I've never heard of that really. I've heard of it somewhat, but to dive into it really deeply and figure out what that is for yourself. We were members of a mastermind and coaching group that brought this up initially to me anyway, other than just hearing it through the grapevine kind of stuff. And you can send an email out to really close friends or coworkers or even supervisors if you have a job that you still are in, and really ask them, I'm trying to figure out what my unique genius zone is. Can you give me some feedback on what you feel I'm really good at? It doesn't have to be like this long, elaborate email explaining why you need that, or, you can send them a text saying, hey, I'm working on what I'm really good at and what my primary focus should be. And what is your opinion on my abilities or what I do really well for the company or for you as a friend or whatever.
Now, if they don't send anything back, it doesn't mean that you don't have a genius
That's what I was
zone.
just going to say. So I did that. at the request of my coach that we had, and I got 0 responses, not a single solitary one. So
it may or
don't
may
be
not work.
surprised. It may not work, but that may be something that you guys can use as an option to trying to help figure out what your unique genius zone is.
And then the other things you'll want to sub out to other people. You may not be able to sub all of them out right away, but you can set baby steps, baby goals. I'm going to sub this out first, then this. Just like our assistant, we started her at 10 hours and she just did basic organization and filing. Then once all that was handled, then she moved on to
Management of properties and
learning about properties and how to do property checks and how to show them, etc. But we'll get into more of that now.
so in the same lines of your unique genius zone, when you're looking at even for yourself or hiring people to your team, we use something that's called a DISC test. We also use a predictive index now, which is a newer thing to us. There are lots of personality tests out there that you can use to try to figure out what the best option for those people on your team are. And it just gives you kind of an idea of how they react and how you can manage them and, you know, how they best perform versus what causes them stress, stuff like that. So it's key for us that we either have them take a DISC test or a predictive index test. The predictive index test is a personality, much more accurate personality test that a lot of Fortune 500 companies use to hire and fire. It's the one thing that they are legally allowed to use, the predictive index, to fire people as well. Yeah, we started using that with our coaching group too. So it's been pretty interesting and eye-opening for everybody that takes it and then uses it for other things. So
yeah, so in other words, someone who really enjoys filing and doing input on software or data or sending messages or texts, you know, that person necessarily doesn't want to do a cold call and call someone on the phone about selling their house. So you're putting your key players in key roles
where they shine,
and you do that through personality tests like the predictive index, and this is exactly what we do when we onboard our new mastermind students
too.
Is we have them do the predictive index.
So as real estate teams go, you know, we use a lot of obviously different aspects in the real estate realm. So you're going to have an attorney perhaps that at least reviews all of your documents, whether that's your contracts with your contractors or your JV agreements. If you do JV agreements, joint venture agreements, any contracts that you have that's like a one-page purchase agreement instead of an actual MLS purchase agreement. There's just lots of different things that we have our attorneys do. We have an eviction attorney that deals with all of their evictions because all of our properties are in LLCs, and at least in the state of Ohio, you have to have an attorney go to court for evictions then. We have
litigation attorneys.
Right.
Unfortunately, yes, we have sued people.
Unfortunately, one of them was our coaching student that tried to steal a house from us. So yeah, it depends on how elaborate of a team that you have, which is obviously going to be based on how elaborate of a business that you want to. So attorneys are key players in our team anyway.
You may have an attorney escrow in your state. We use title companies here, but even the title company still has to have an attorney on staff. So you may need an attorney for your title work. We have a different attorney that does specialty contracts for us and specialty deeds for those subject to and owner finance deals.
Because we do, yeah, that's a good point. He also evaluates all of our trust paperwork and develops that for us too, because we put those subject to deals in a land trust.
So that's an example of about 5 different attorneys
Right.
that we
That
use.
we could potentially need 5 different people to do. Luckily, we don't, but we have about 3 or 4. And obviously real estate agents. Now Jay has his real estate license, and another member of our team has her real estate license, and another member of our team has gone through the real estate schooling and is sitting for her license. So,
But I will also tell you that we are paying a real estate agent for bringing us an off-market deal.
right.
And so, just because you're licensed, don't be afraid to give up a little bit of money to get a really smoking hot deal.
And on the flip side of that, Jay then lists all, or our team, I should say, then lists all of our flips too. So we're kind of getting the commission, not kind of, we get the commission
Yeah.
on that too. So being a real estate agent, or at least having one on your team, is, I would say, crucial for any real estate team.
3, at least.
Okay. Mortgage lenders is another person that is another group of people that we work with. I used to have my mortgage license once upon a time, as did Jay. And that, it just gives you an option to send buyers to say, have you been pre-approved? If they contact you personally about a listing that you have, even if it's listed with an agent, you can say, have you talked to an agent? Have you talked to mortgage lenders? Here are people that we work with. You cannot technically steer them to one individual, but you can say, I can offer you these people that we work with, or this person that we've worked with before. So,
or if you list a flip, you can absolutely require that any buyer that wants to have an accepted contract doesn't have to use your lender, but you want them to be pre-approved through your lender so that the other company's pre-approval is solid. Because I can tell you that we've gone through a whole transaction before and found out 3 or 4 days before closing that the buyer isn't approved, and then a little bit more information comes in, and then you find out, well, they actually didn't turn in all their documents and it was just based on credit, and now we discovered XYZ, and now they don't qualify, and now you're starting over.
And we've also used mortgage lenders for our rent to own people, because we do rent to owns for other people. Some of our rentals are actually lease option purchases. So we have everybody that deals with us on any of those transactions to speak to one of our mortgage lenders that are on our team that we work with often, so that they can be pre-approved or figure out how long the term needs to be set. So we would have them speak to a mortgage lender, and then that's how we develop the terms of the lease option purchase for how long they need to get the house to be purchased outright. Sorry.
Yes, because we do some of that as well. We'll do an option purchase, a lease with an option to buy on rental properties that we do.
Yep. And then title companies. So in the state of Ohio, we use title companies. Some states use attorneys. So we use our title companies for every flip that we close. We also look for title companies when we are looking that can hold escrow funds, because we don't want any of our students or ourselves getting all of the money at once. And a lot of our private money lenders don't like that either. So
we split it into phases.
We split the work into phases, and therefore the money gets split into phases. And then there's precautions put into the agreement with the money lender as to how we are going to get the next phase approved, whether that's email pictures or send a video or text them and say we're done, and they come and look at it, or whatever the case may be. It just depends on where your hard money lenders are, or your private money lenders, and what they want. So
and not all title companies will escrow for repairs.
Not all title companies are real estate investor friendly.
Not all title companies are wholesale friendly. So
it just depends on what you want your business to look like, and what deals or what ways of real estate you will be dealing in. So
yes.
As to what you need to look for.
And some title companies will help you with marketing. They may do mailers with you. They may do they may send you lists. They get data lists a lot, and they may send you lists. So I know we've been able to get thousands and thousands of dollars in to go towards marketing for deals from our title companies, which is very helpful.
Because they can help you do marketing, like Jay was mentioning. They can pull lists for you. They can send postcards for you. Some of them, and they just put their little title company blurb on that same postcard, right? If you're doing mailers.
Or if you want them to pay half of it, you give them one side
and you get the other.
They take the other side, or you split it in half,
or whatever.
You get half of the ad, and they get half of the ad.
And then we have money lenders. We have private money lenders. We have hard money lender companies. And back to this kind of coincides with your question. That's why I pulled up the chat. I thought I'd seen Robert say something about funding and how do we get funding for property after property. So when we first started, Jay went to the banks after we had 2 or 3 and said, okay, I'm ready to buy another.
2. I got shut down after 2.
So he said, I'm ready to buy another. And they said, I'm sorry, your debt to income ratio doesn't work for us. So you can't have another loan. So that kind of kicked that whole game plan out the window.
Yes. And we could do a whole training on that.
Yeah, definitely. And we will eventually, because that's what we do. So
Robert, right?
Yeah.
Robert. Yes. Robert, we can do a whole training on that. But in a nutshell, you want to establish your own private money lenders. And we do that regularly, even after being in the business for 20 years and using private lenders for 15 years. We're always looking for new lenders. And
by new lenders, we're not talking about big companies all the time either. Some of our private money lenders are old coaching students of ours. Our children are doing small loans. His father has done several loans. His aunt has done a loan. Anybody that has a significant chunk of money in the bank that they're willing to let you invest in your property, or anybody that has a IRA or a 401k or any of those retirement funds.
We've helped a number of people roll those.
Even the college savings plans and healthcare savings plans, right?
Yep, HSA.
HSA.
So we've helped a number of people roll over. They left their job and they have this IRA sitting there. And so what we will do is help them get that rolled over. And then we don't advertise interest rates. We ask them what they want to make. And if they give us a number and we like it, we go with it.
We have hard money and private money lenders. Yes, to answer your question on the chat, where'd it go?
Which we can answer more of these depths at the end.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Delane, yes. Private money is more expensive. You're not going to get 4.25%. You're not going to get 5.25%.
Yeah, we've paid up to 18%.
So private and hard money ranges typically from about 10 to 18.
Yeah.
And it can be any gamut thereof. And it can add, you could have 1 point, you can have 4 points. And for those of you that don't know what points are, it's 1% is 1 point. So it just depends on what the hard money or private money lender wants. Typically right now, we are seeing 12% in the loans that we have in hard money. No, to answer your other question about hard money lenders, your loan is not due before the project is done, typically.
And I'll challenge your mindset about expensive.
Right.
Because if I used bank loans, I could do 1 flip at a time. But because I can use private and hard money lenders, I can do 15, 20 flips at a time. And so is it expensive? It's
more expensive
if I don't. It's expensive if I don't use it. Because they will typically let me fund 100% of the deal, or a hard money lender that we have connections with will only require us to put 10% down of the purchase price. And so in that instance, then it is not expensive. It allows me to increase my income. If I could only do 1 flip with a bank and I can do 17 now, then I just increase my income by 16 times.
Yeah.
because I can do 16 additional properties.
And it really isn't any more scary than a loan with a bank, because a private money or a hard money lender can foreclose just like a bank can. You don't pay them, you don't stay. You don't pay them, you don't keep the house.
Yes, and
It's just point blank.
and Delane, yes, Delane, it is scary.
Yeah. It is scary, but any loan from any bank, I think, is just as scary, especially if it's an adjustable rate mortgage. So, I mean, I
But
guess it's
also,
6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
also what we don't have on here are joint venture lenders. And so if you're really, really scared about it and you know somebody with money that wants to partner with you, then, invite them into the deal. Hey, you supply the money, I'm doing the rehab. I'll update you every week what's going on, send you pictures. And so join with me and be a part of this deal, and we'll split the profit at the end. So
We offer lots of different coursework on everything that we do. So if you guys are interested in that, you'll get a way to contact us at the end of all of this. So feel free to reach out. Stacy, the 27 rentals that we bought this year, we've done a little bit of creative financing. We've done some hard money
Yes.
lending. We've done some.
Yeah, so out of those, many were multi-units. We picked up an 8-unit in the spring, and we did basically a 50% ownership. It was half vacant, and our agreement was we jump in and we put our own money into the project. So Annie and I put about $52,000 in the 4 units to get them up and ready, and then we increased rents by 30%. So we did a huge value add to that property. We basically, with filling it and then increased rents, we doubled the value of that property. And now that it's completely performing, now we will look to refinance it and then pull our money out plus the owner's money that they put down, and get our money back plus probably another about 125 to 150,000, and then we'll just take that chunk and roll it to the next commercial property. The 9-unit, we got a commercial loan. No bank would do that, of completely vacant property. We went to a commercial lender, and they gave us the loan because of our experience.
Mhm.
They would never have given the loan to our coaching
To a
students
newbie, yeah.
because they've
They're
only
too
done
new.
a couple of deals. We literally turned in every single flip we've done in the last 36 months. So they get our complete portfolio of deals we've done, what we own now, and they go, okay, we'll do this deal for you, because they know that we know what we're doing.
As far as your question for getting a hold of city projects, Michelle, we do talk to city planning. We have friends in the Newark City, which is where we're at, Newark City arena. And we have some friends in Columbus, and my uncle is the city engineer in Coshocton, and there's land banks that have properties here locally that you just have to call. I mean, the biggest thing that we can tell you, in all honesty, in the 20 years of real estate that we've done, connections and networking are crucial.
Yeah.
They're not totally like you can do real estate in your own little bubble, in your own little time, and not really tell anybody what you're doing or who you, you know what I mean, who you are or how you do it. But, talk to people, go to real estate investment groups, meetings or meetups. There's RIAs. I'm sure Ohio has a huge RIA. They're actually doing ORIA the weekend of our birthday in November. So there's local meetups and local groups that you can network with, that you can get your name out there, what you're looking for, anything that you really want to do in real estate. You can find somebody in your town either doing it or knows some information on it, or has somebody that wants to get rid of a property, or has a family member that just went into a nursing home or is in the hospital or just can't deal with the rentals anymore or whatever. You just need to communicate with everyone you come into contact with as to
Yeah.
what you're doing.
So we're paying for these rentals this year through private money and hard money. Most of the single families, we use our network of private lenders, and we've established relationships with them where they don't even require us to make monthly payments. So we'll buy it. Our goal is buy it, fix it, fill it, and then get it refinanced within 6 months. And so our lender, and when we turn it in, he sees like we're buying and fixing, we're at 70% after repair value. Okay, so that's what it's worth after we fix it. So if we bought a house for 50,000, in other words, we're putting 20,000 in repairs, we're at 70%, and it's worth 100 after we fix it. Then we put our tenant in there, whether it's regular or an option tenant, and we fill it with a tenant. Now it's performing asset. Now we can go to the bank and get the finished loan. So that is a way that we buy houses with none of our own money. Okay. You heard in there, I got 100% financing. I made no monthly payments. And then I even made money on monthly rent before we went to the bank to get the final loan. Okay. So hopefully that helps answer that question.
So this slide says skilled workers, subcontractors, general contractors, specialized labor. And yes, to answer your question, I don't even know who said it now, about finding reliable contractors. We had a horrible time finding reliable contractors,
Yes.
so much so that we started our own construction company. Because we wanted to be able to have a crew of people that we could rely on, that we could like plan on being somewhere and know that they will be there when they say they're going to be there.
Yes, we have 5 teams right now, and we're actually looking for 3 more.
And right now is especially difficult to find some reliable hard workers or even workers in general. So it can be difficult, and that is a big complaint about builders, especially. But we put an ad on Facebook and got 0 responses. I put an ad on Craigslist and got 10. So,
which blew my mind. Like, I thought Craigslist was dead. It's not.
It's not.
It's not
I just
dead.
proved it this past week. So, you just, again, start talking to other people that have done flips in your area, or talking to people that have rentals in your area, and just finding out who they're working for or who they're working with. With the property that we have in Spartanburg, South Carolina, we had no idea, right? We're not from there. We've been there twice before buying that property. And I looked online on actually, what's it called? Let It Go or Offer Up. Offer Up is what it's called.
It's an app.
So it's an app on your phone that you can find different, just different things, home furnishings.
We got staging stuff for our Airbnbs.
So when it was an Airbnb, then I started making comments on different things that I was looking for or wanting to buy. And then other people started asking, are you putting together an Airbnb? Where in town is this Airbnb? Do you need cleaners? And I said, I need everything. So the more I reached out to people on different items that I saw, the more they came back with me, oh, you have to use this person to clean. You have to use this person for this. You have to, you know what I mean?
There you go.
So the more you talk, again, the more you're going to get, and some may work and some may not. And it's just really meet and put them to the test kind of thing. What I can tell you with our contractors that join our contracting team, we have them meet one of our lead contractors or our project manager at one of our projects and say, okay, this is what we're doing. So tell me how you would do this project. Tell me how you would drywall this bathroom. Tell me how you would plumb this sink or vanity. Tell me how you would expose this brick and what you would do with it. Or tell me how you would tuck point something. Tell me how you would replace the roof. not necessarily show me how you do it, but tell me the steps that you would do in order to fix it. So one, if they know what they're talking about, and two, if they have any idea on how to price anything or do any of that.
Yes. You're going to find out through vetting them properly, like
Mhm.
Stacy said, what their skill sets are, and if they can price stuff themselves. We have a pay sheet, and then we can ask them to submit a bid. If they're like, we want to put our own bid, great, go ahead. And we just compare it to our own pay sheet. Like, does it fit in our budget or not?
And
if not,
does it make sense on what they're saying that they do? And then we also, if we have them do bids and not work off of our pay sheet, we have them sign a contract saying, this is the amount of time that I need for this. Jay and I are going to add 2 or 3 weeks to that, just
Or days,
or days,
depending
depending on the
the
project.
project, what they're bidding.
Right. And just to make sure that if something unexpected comes up, then that's covered in that time frame as well. And then anytime after that deadline, they owe you holding costs, because now they're holding up the project. And if they aren't on the day, or if they aren't on the project 2 days in a row, it's considered a no call, no show, and you're done.
Contract canceled, no more pay for anything, even if you're in the middle of it. Get
Time
out.
to go. And then we
Bye-bye.
change the lockbox code and let our team know and move on.
So we have deadlines, and we have work orders, and
We have change work orders if something needs to be changed.
yeah, like
We have
someone
budgets.
just took a roof off and the sheeting was rotted underneath and they needed 6 sheets. That's a change order. The contractor didn't know, we didn't know. And so you do a change order, and you may have to negotiate the change order price. So those are all things that you want to consider when you're doing your contracts.
So again, along these same lines, who do you need? Like, who do you look for? It just depends on the project. We always have a couple of options for clean out and for demo, whether that's our own guys or whether that's another outside company that comes in and, picks up all the trash for us after our contractors have bagged it. We have a couple of HVAC people that can do it because, as you know, HVAC people are busy, especially when it starts getting cold. And especially when it starts getting warm, depending on where you live.
So we have 3. We have 2 that we use all the time, and then we have a third as a backup.
And we have roofing companies that we use. We also have guys on our
3
teams that can do roofs, but we also have an outside guy that we can go to we actually have 2 outside guys. One guy does strictly slate and clay tile. The other guy does strictly shingles and metal. And then there's everybody that in between, right?
And
so
then we have
always
3
have
guys
options
on our team that do it full time. And then if we have extra, like Annie said, we can call the other guys, or if it's a specialty roof, like the clay tile or the slate, then we call in that specialist, because not very many roofers in Ohio know how to fix clay tile or slate. Very, very few.
So then you have plumbing and electrical and then structural engineer. We don't have a structural engineer on our team, but we have somebody that we call regularly if it comes to point where we need a structural engineer. And dumpster companies. Go ahead.
I just want to hit on this again because this is so important. Make sure you are getting multiple bids. An example is the roofer that does slate, I sent him, or the roofer that does shingles, I sent him to look at a slate roof, and he told me it needed replaced. Okay. And it was going to be $35,000. Now I brought in my regular slate roofer, and he said, yeah, I can fix this slate roof. It's going to be $2,200. Now think if you just called the one roofer, and you basically just wasted $33,000. Okay. And an electrical bid on one house, I got a bid for $17,000, $7,800, and $5,500. Same house, same project, same scope of work, 3 different prices. One of them triple the lowest price. So just wanted to reiterate the importance of getting multiple bids will save you thousands of dollars in money. And then, like Annie said, dumpsters, you can get dumpsters, or you can decide to just use somebody that does trash outs and has a pull behind dumpster. That's what we do because we're tired of neighbors throwing their trash in our dumpster and filling it up after everybody leaves for the day.
Right.
Pro
That's what I
tip.
was gonna say.
Pro
The other
tip.
thing that we do is we rent U-Haul trucks and have staff or people that are on our construction crew go around and clean those up because, like Jay said,
Yeah.
we order a dumpster and we put 2 or 3 things in it and we go back the next day and it's clear full and overflowing and none of it is our stuff. And we are paying for that dumpster to let the neighborhood clean out their crap. So dumpsters are things that we used to use all of the time, but we've kind of veered away from that and we have a relationship with the local dump and
Yeah, so we can rent
we
a
rent
U-Haul
U-Haul trucks
and dump for about $150 plus the labor we have to pay the guys. So that's half price of almost any dumpster in Central Ohio.
trim guys. I have that on there because if you're doing a flip, trim is extremely important. And if it's not good, it stands out like a sore thumb.
Finish carpentry.
Finish carpentry in general. Mold mitigation. Jay and I buy a lot of houses with mold because nobody else wants them.
We love them.
We have somebody on our team that does mold mitigation, and in all honesty, it's pretty easy. You can buy the stuff at Home Depot or at Lowe's. You suit up and you go down and mitigate the mold and be done with it. But not everybody likes to do that. So if you are one of those people, that's an option for you. Pest control, we have had spiders, we've had rats, we've had
roaches,
muskrats,
bed
even
bugs,
bed bugs, roaches,
fleas.
Yes, lots and lots of fleas. We have 2 things on this too. So we have the commercial pest control people that's what they do for their daytime job that we have on our Rolodex. But we also have Columbus Pest Control where we can send our people to get flea spray, bed bug spray, spider roach spray, and go in with a pump sprayer and mix it the way that they tell us to mix it and do it ourselves.
Yes. Pro tip, septic inspection. Use a camera system.
Yes.
Do not buy a house without a camera down the septic. Number of our students have saved $25,000, $30,000, $35,000.
Some of them have not.
Finding a bad septic
because they don't follow our instructions and then they have to replace it anyway.
Tisk. There goes all your profit.
That happens after you've rehabbed the house and they have a buyer for it and they do a septic inspection and find out that it's messed up. You either have to fix it in order to sell the house or start over.
Yeah, if you would like to rehab for free, please put in the chat, I do, and you can come and work with us because we're hiring.
No.
Otherwise, you get your septic inspected.
Oh my gosh. So the ultimate goal is to make sure that you do the activities worth your time and hire the rest out. And in all honesty, you don't have to start that way. Clearly, a lot of people that start out aren't going to have the resources to hire out, nor do they need to, because in all honesty, as far as real estate investors are concerned, in my opinion, you need to do some of this stuff on your own so that you know what needs to happen and how it needs to be done and all of that before you hire anybody else out, because you can't teach somebody if you don't know what you're doing.
Maybe you work full-time and you just don't want to or can't do this. Find a great general contractor and have them do everything. Let them deal with the headaches. You'll pay a little bit more, but you'll know that it's taken care of. Will you go back up?
We are not really having supply chain issues as of yet. We did have some with wood and fencing and windows.
We've had to find other sources, like siding as an example. Places are 2 weeks out. Well, we know a small company where we can buy siding and it gets shipped in 2 days. Windows 8 weeks out. Well, we have a window supplier that we can get them in about 4 or 5 weeks. So that's a couple of examples. And then Delane asked, are you paying interest? Yes, we're paying interest. How we're paying it is at the end. So say they loan us 70, they might charge us a point So that's $700. They might charge us 2 points, that's 1,400. And then maybe they want 10% interest or 12% or something like that. Let's just say that's about $700 a month for a 6-month loan is $4,200 plus if they did 2 points, that's 5,600. So they loan us 70, we make no payments. The payoff is 75,600.
And all of that's laid out in mortgages and notes. We do a
Yeah.
mortgage on the property. We do a promissory note on the property.
Yep.
Again, it's all done through our attorney and it's all recorded at the recorder's office. So all of our private money lenders are protected just
they have
as much as
insurance.
Jay and I are with the insurance and everything else. Yeah. So the next question is, do you have, wait,
Oh,
do you have a contractor template? Yes, it's not in the REI USA website, but we can send that to you.
there might be one in there.
There might be one in there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what Stacy did, hired GCs. 'Cause
There is.
you already have one, Stacy.
Yeah, just go to the forms directory and everything that you need is there, honestly.
Cool.
Yeah. So Stacy doesn't want to be in the trenches like us. So she just hired GCs and then she only has to talk to one person
Yep.
instead of 10.
Michelle, we have used PropStream for
Yes.
fix and flips. We used to use that often. We kind of quit using that because we picked up another software program that we use instead.
We were using PropStream more when we were buying in Florida actively because I'm not a licensed agent there. And so I was using PropStream to kind of gauge values. And then also I like the feature where it tells you what their mortgage balance is and if they have any liens or not. It's pretty powerful, but if someone's motivated, they tell you that anyway. But yeah, I'm typically for what I was doing with PropStream here locally, I can use my MLS to find out property values. We have Room system through FMLS.
Hey y'all,
Okay.
just out of curiosity, what do you guys focus on? Like, so how do you split your business up between both of you? Like you said, like, oh, you said work on the things that you like and then like delegate everything else, which is what I
Yeah. So yeah.
How does it work for y'all?
Right. So we have, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 2 project. We have one project manager, and
That's
then we
in
have
the field.
and then we have an operations manager that used to be our only assistant. She's kind of been up through the ranks with us, so to speak. She's
Yes.
also the one that has her real estate license. She's been with us for 8 years. So she used to run the show when Jay and I would go out of town. She was
Yeah.
it. She was the one-man band kind of thing.
So she writes the contracts, the purchase contracts, keeps everything compliant for my brokerage with documents and making sure everything's signed, and that she does the leases. And then we have 3 admin people that help with collecting rents and posting 3-day notices and doing
Answering phones and emails.
answering phones and emails and doing property checks and paying our bills. You know, there's
3 full-time people that do that. There's a project manager. There's an operations manager now. We also have a producer slash marketing guy.
Marketing person.
He's going to be doing, we're going to start a podcast in January. So he's getting all of that set up and ready. Then we have a person that does all of our ads for us as well. So we've added a lot of different people. Jay does all of the negotiations for any of the properties because he can sell ice to somebody that lives.
I go look at them and I do a really quick rehab cost estimate. So I can do a quick estimate in about 10 minutes. And then after I get it under contract, then I can go back to the house and spend about an hour there, get all the measurements, floor plan, pick out my design. Am I moving walls? Am I moving the kitchen? Can I add a master bed and bath on the first floor? As many of the houses in Ohio have a kitchen, dining room, living room, and a family room. So I'll usually take the family room away and make a master bed, and then I can fit a bath in somewhere sometimes. So that's my main focus.
We were using REI Simple,
We're using Freedom Soft.
but now we use Freedom Soft for our CRM, which is, what's that stand for? Customer Relations. I don't even remember. Sorry.
Yeah, customer relation management.
It's one of those days for me. Sorry.
Whatever.
Whatever it is, the CRM, thank you.
Customer retention, customer relation. Yeah.
Whatever the case may be.
So
we use Freedom Soft.
It has
now.
websites, texting, you can manage your projects in there. You can put your budgets in there. You can see where your budget is to date, what you've spent. Are you over on a certain category? So we break it all down into line items.
And then Bonnie, who is our operations manager, she runs comps inside the MLS that we're all, Jay and her are members of with their real estate license. So the comp part of things that PropStream does, because PropStream does run comps for you or pulls comps for you, that portion of that then is done by off of the MLS. So,
and Freedom Soft lets you pull data, so you can pull lists. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know. We can do a little demo for you. You can just shoot us a message.
Yeah, so on the screen right now is the best ways to get a hold of us. If you want to text or email us, then we can send you the free new hire checklist that we did, or that we have and that we use, and any other information that you would like from us. As Stacy and Christy have said, we are on every third Wednesday at 4:00 on REI USA, or you can get a hold of us at our email or our office line. So does anybody else have any other questions or comments or anything?
Awesome. I appreciate it. So it's good to see. It's kind of good to dive. I like to dive in and see everybody runs their businesses,
Yeah. Yes.
So it's really all kind of the same, but it's just a little bit different,
Yeah, everybody does the same basic stuff, but everybody's got their own twist on how they do it. So I find it interesting too.
Yes. Yes. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So again, they are on REI USA. You can find them. I just go to the calendar, the REI USA calendar, and then just schedule your time. You can schedule anytime with any teacher once you become a member. It's $40 to become a member of REI USA. And then you get also, for the bonus, you get the getting started in real estate investing online course, plus so much other stuff. Like we have all the forms.
Oh, yeah, tons of stuff.
You guys have a lot of
And
stuff.
so many
Awesome.
different awesome educators.
Exactly. Right. Yes. Yeah. You get to put yourself in front of people just like Jay and Annie, and they just sit there just like this, and they just got to tell you what to do. So just think of it like small group coaching, and we're just all here to make sure that you're moving forward and doing what
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else final you want to say, Jay or Annie?
I was just going to say, take advantage of all these tools. I mean, when we got
definitely.
started, we had the public library.
But that was it. I mean,
That
we
was
didn't,
it. I checked out books, and that's how I learned about lease options.
And that's how we learned how to do rehabs too, was the Better Homes and Gardens rehabbing whatever book
Yeah,
it
the
was that
manual.
my dad bought Jay for Christmas one year.
Thank God it had pictures in it.
There was no internet when we started, so
Oh boy.
we learned everything by book. I know how to solder plumbing only because I learned it from that book.
So I just go on YouTube.
Right.
Build a house by watching YouTube videos.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
I'll answer this other question from Mark. Mark, we find our rentals from referrals, organic Facebook posts, us showing what we do. We drive for dollars and write down addresses, and then we skip trace the owner and call them. And code violations are a great way to get properties from your county. That in fact they know us, and they'll usually waive all of the fines, the fees. I mean, we don't tell the seller that. We say we'll take care of the fees, so you don't have to worry about it.
But property maintenance knows who we are, so typically they waive those knowing that we're gonna set it up as the way that it should be. Why do you feel like your students are struggling to find deals? Because they're not doing what they're told,
They just weren't following instruction.
right, Stacy? If your coaching students don't do what they're told, they're not gonna get the results.
If I call you and I'm like, hey, Rebecca, how many offers did you make this month? 1.
Well, then that's why you have no deals.
Okay.
Yeah. I tell this
Okay.
to my students too all the time. It's like, you ain't gonna get any deals unless you ask for them.
You got to make offers.
You have to talk to people,
To make
or
offers,
somebody you know
you
has
gotta
to talk to people.
I do exactly what you do. You could tell the oldies, but the goodies, because they're all, we just go straight to the owner. We door knock straight to the owner and asking them if they want to sell. It's the easiest way to find deals, honestly.
Post-it note on their door. I have $$ for you. Call me.
Literally, that's all it takes.
Drive for dollars and leave a note on the vacant door that you found. I'm telling you, eventually they'll call you. It may not be immediately, but eventually they'll call you.
Yep, or write down the address and then go back and skip trace the owner on the auditor's website, and then skip trace that information on People Looker or People Finder, or get a phone call, get an email, get an address and send them
Haynes-
something, call
Haynes
them,
crisscross,
whatever.
I think is one you could use.
You can always tell the newbies, but they're like, what software program are you using? And like, it's called Google Drive. It's like,
Right.
yeah, so all the like, which software program? Now we do, like REI USA, if you go to the partners page, you can get access to PropStream. There's discounts on all, like FreedomSoft and RealFlow and all this. But
There you
when,
go.
like when I got started, there was no software. Like
Right.
I opened a spreadsheet and like put my
Right. Exactly. A notebook with lines of people.
This was my software
exactly.
when I started.
I got my notebook right around here, right here.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
crap. What notebook was that in?
Exactly. Yes.
It depends on what contracts you want, Michelle. I think Stacy's got quite a few in the forms and
Yeah.
and in that section. But if there's something specific that we could help you with, just reach out and we can see what we can get to you. Again, don't use it without getting it approved from an attorney for your area, because Ohio is different than Wisconsin and was different than Nevada, whatever the case may be. So
you can find Michelle, you can find the contracts are all in the forms directory, and I know she's a member. So go into the REI USA forms directory, all contracts, templates, checklists, anything that you can think of to run your business is all there for you. Okay. There's a
As
one
Ragu says, it's in there.
oh my God.
It's in there.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all y'all do for REI USA. Okay.
Oh, no worries.
You
Thanks
bet.
for having us.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you guys soon. Okay. Also, I forgot to mention Christy's on here. Sorry, Christy. Christy is our community manager. Say everybody. Say hi. She's actually the one that runs everything and does everything.
Hey, Christy.
Yeah, so if you decide to join REI USA, Christy's going to get a hold of you and she will do a demo for you and she will show you everything. And any members that are already members that have not done a demo, you're more than welcome to contact Christy,
Awesome.
Christy at rei-usa.com, and she'll do a demo for you. So like Michelle, if you're like, where is everything? She'll show you where everything is. Okay, this kind of stuff. Okay.
It was nice to hang out with all of you, and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for all the nice comments. We appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you all
awesome.
so much.
Guys, take care.
You're
Welcome.
welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Have a blessed day. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.